first episode. So we'll be talking about player housing. Player housing is one of the most important things in an MMO, especially when we're talking about Ashes of Creation. We know of 3 types of homes that are going to be available. They're going to be mainly varying in size with the crafting ability, and obviously that's going to reflect in the price of them. The 3 different ones that we know so far are freehold, static housing, and apartments. Before we get started, though, really wanted to give a big shout out to the Dungeon Crawler Network. For those of you that aren't familiar, this is a great podcast that kind of more or less gave me the motivation to get the ball rolling myself and kind of do things a little more serious on my end. So if you're interested, check out their podcast. They're great to listen to. Really enjoyed joining their Discord. Yeah, great group of guys and girls to hang out and talk to. So anyway, back to the show. So there are many benefits that come with owning a house with varying degrees of importance and customization through the world of Era, blah, 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 blah. Just so we understand, I wrote a paper like I did on my other 2, but then I realized I wanted to do more of a podcast kind of thing, so we're changing it up. So you're going to have to bear with me on this first episode. It's not going to be very smooth, to say the least. So anyway, what are the main benefits of owning a house in Vera, or better known in just the game of Ashes of Creation? Well, 1, trophies being displayed in houses. It's pretty much why anybody would want to own a house, right? To display the amount of cool stuff that you've gathered through the game, whether it be a simple wooden bench outside your house or like some crazy ass monster head inside. For those of you that played, like, I don't really know what to compare it to other than Star Wars Galaxies, where it was very common, especially in like guild halls, to like have something that was way too big for a hallway to literally be like taking up the entire hall. Like there'd be like the head of a Rancor or something in the hallway, so it's like it looks like you can't go through it, but you obviously can walk through it. So there's not, I guess there is clipping issues, but I'm not sure if they're going to allow that. I'm hoping they don't, because it kind of breaks immersion a little bit, but let's hope for something. They might do something, I can't remember what game it is now, but it's like the size of a trophy, so you can put like size 3 trophies in one place, size 2 trophies in another place, and size 1 trophies in another place. I don't think it's an MMO, but God, I wish I remember the name of it. Anyway, so yeah, so we got trophies and stuff. That's cool. Let's see. Then we're moving on to storage. Should be super obvious. Storage is going to be another thing where you obviously are going to have more storage the larger your house is, but the thing to kind of understand with this game is you don't have what is it, server-wide storage banks, I think is the proper termage for that. What I'm trying to say is that like you can't have your money stored in like the capital bank and then go like 5 nodes over and then still be able to get that same money. Like you're going to be pretty limited as far as that goes. You're going to have to bring it all with you. I don't think this is the biggest deal, because they've said how much they're like trying to not really punish but shy away from just like blatant open PvP, as like, I shouldn't say blatant PvP, trolling, right? Like people that are literally going out of their way to try to ruin other people's day. That's what they're trying to stop. As far as like the PvP goes, obviously not. It's a PvP game, but they don't want people like to get trolled nonstop by people, which I understand. If you're trying to move stuff and you're trying to move like lumber and it's the 5th time you moved it and the same guys are like wrecking your shit, it's gonna get annoying. It's gonna get really fucking annoying. The thing about those large like halls, though, to really understand is the fact that you are literally going like, what is the game size? Got 480 square kilometers is what they have right now. But then remember, this is the cool thing. So that's a huge area to transfer like anything through, especially in like a caravan kind of way where it's like super fucking slow. But the punchline being is you have the ability to use what's called the Underrealm, which is like here you have the main game, and then that's the main area of Vera. But you have to remember that even like the Tolnar were one of the 9 races that instead of escaping through the gates, they fled underneath into the Underrealm. So down here you have a totally different area where you can actually go through tunnels and stuff and reroute everything to other places. So it's not like a guarantee that, oh, I'll definitely be able to go from point A to point B by using the Underrealm. I wouldn't say that, but there's going to be shortcuts that may be safer and may be less PvP prone, but you have to remember Underrealm has nodes itself that people can conquer, and there'll be siege weapons that are exclusive to the Underrealm nodes and all that such. So that is for a different discussion. So back to the housing benefits. So housing also brings the ability for crafting. If you don't know, crafting is probably the biggest thing that when it comes to Ashes of Creation, it's the #1 thing that'll be driving the economy. They've said multiple times that they want the economy to be player driven. So kind of reflecting Star Wars Galaxies or I don't know. Star Wars Galaxies for me did it pretty well for a number of things. So, to be honest with you guys, I've maxed characters out in other MMOs, but I've never dived into another MMO as much as I did Star Wars Galaxies. So there may be others that are like very crafty based, but as far as I'm concerned, if you're somebody that played Star Wars Galaxies, you really understand what I'm saying in a crafting, player-driven economy. That's really, really what that game was about, and it was really, really phenomenal for that. This does mean that people can like buy things out and inflate prices and cause like a bunch of like bottleneck demands, but that's even more reason to have crafting friends and to be in larger guilds. All things that are very easily attainable through forums and stuff. Anyway, so the biggest thing to remember though is that crafting isn't the only thing that will be there that your house will benefit from. There's the gathering aspect of it, and there's the processing. So we've talked a little bit about processing, but they haven't really gone into too much about it. But we know we'll have processing stations at our freeholds that we'll be able to use, possibly at static houses, maybe at apartments, but I seriously doubt that. That's the thing that I kind of brought up in my little paper thing, is that if you wanted to really theory craft, I would assume that just like in real life, you could have like an actual forge in your apartment. But the only problem being is that let's be honest, I seriously doubt that anyone would ever be able to have a forge in their apartment that would be able to be as strong as a real freehold forge, just because the size, stat bonuses. I was gonna say boosts, but I guess bonuses is fine. And I wouldn't even doubt you're able to craft more things. So I don't know how you'd be able to craft like a large axe or a two-handed sword in a apartment forge, though I have been proven wrong before, so we'll see. And the other thing that you obviously want out of any house is the ability to claim citizenship. While there are 3 different housing types, all provide citizenship for the place you're residing in, though it's important to remember you can only change these every 2 weeks. So if you have an apartment in Erantel, a static house in Yarnum, and maybe, just maybe, you're setting yourself up a nice freehold out in the Stanton system. I don't know if anybody's going to get those references, but fingers crossed. We're hoping so. Punchline being is you will not be able to claim citizenship in each node, but you would be able to have a house in each one. So that is kind of interesting. I'm not exactly sure how that would work, but you got to think about it this way. If you had a pretty good static house in a city that was starting to get set up, and you have an apartment in another city that's already doing really, really freaking well, why not set up a static house? Why would you not set up a freehold like a few nodes away and then literally be able to act as though it's an inn or a tavern and run a business? I mean, though it's going to be a ways away, you're going to have an inn that you and your friends and anyone can stop at that's way out in the boonies. That's kind of going to be like your kind of like little safe space, you know, or a safe space. It like would act as like a little checkpoint is what I'm trying to say. There we go. It's going to be a checkpoint. So you're going to be able to go from like your node, and then you're trying to get to like the huge mountains way, way out there. Well, you have your little node, your freehold out in the middle. So you leave. By the time you get there, you have to resupply at your tavern. And I'm not sure if you could have like NPCs constantly caravanning there and resupplying things. So when you come back, it's like the NPCs there still have it all running and everything. That would be freaking great. That would be great. But we'll see what happens with that. But that would be nice to be able to go from A to B and have a little stop point in the middle to be able to resupply, gather up more potions, herbs, and such. But we will see. So anyway, and then I got this big thing type out for freeholds. Let's see how much we can scan through this without making it sound too read out. All right, so freeholds are obviously going to offer the most gain with the highest level of player customization. However, they cannot be placed within city limits. Again, I make reference to Star Wars Galaxies. You can expect to see large player-driven neighborhoods outside of the major cities. So it's like if you have like your freehold and it's like a big circle outside, like where my little fingers are, you're going to have like huge amounts of neighborhoods because people can't actually build inside their freehold inside the city limits itself. So where are you probably going to build? Right outside, so you can easily supply back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The thing about this is just like the real world, a lot of times this is going to make it to where you can actually get better prices and goods on the outskirts because of people that are trying to sell to people that are just coming into the city comparative to people selling directly at the city market. So you have an advantage of trying to get your house as far out on the fringe as possible. So people are, you're the first they see on the road when they're trying to look for new armor, new weapons, new potions, everything. So might be a good option to, instead of build inside the city, be building on the outskirts. So when people are walking down the roads, you're the first one they see, right? You're beating the competition literally by just being there in front of everyone else. The other thing too that freeholds are going to allow you to do is, and that's kind of cool thing, is you're going to be able to advertise directly to people and show them what you have on your freehold, which may be a bad thing if you're trying to keep yourself hidden, but it wouldn't be too bad unless you were setting up for like a war thing or something like that, and then you had like nothing but like blacksmiths and forges and stuff. Then the enemy's probably going to know what's up. But usually speaking, we're only going to be seeing like an array of different crafting and processing stations, which are as follows: forges, smelters, mills, lumberyards, stables, homesteads, inns, taverns, shrines, and farms. So, from what we've seen, it seems like you can only have 3 on your property at one time, including your main house itself. So that's kind of something to remember. And the house, depending on what kind of size house you want, depends on how many you can have, because your house could take up 2 slots or even 3 slots. So you got to be kind of a little careful with that. I would recommend, if you're somebody that you're like, well, I don't want to do any of the crafting stuff, well, then get a freaking tavern, dude. I don't know, like, get a tavern, okay? Get a tavern. Why get a tavern? Because getting a tavern comes with great advantages for anyone. as follows. It provides meals for other players. Meals grant buffs, also known as status boosters, for a period of time. The ability to sell area-specific recipes to other players. Always getting a little extra change. And even provide... I just lost it. And even provide quests exclusive to player taverns. That is pretty freaking cool. The other thing to add on that, I'm not sure if they will be 24/7 available though. Like, the NPCs have to sleep too, right? And they're probably gonna have their own sleep schedule and everything. So you won't be able to go to the tavern like 24/7 in game and be able to pick that stuff up. Maybe from the barkeep. We'll see. I'm not sure. We'll see. But as far as it stands right now, it'd probably be only during shop hours. Intrepid has emphasized players have the ability to sell items from the freehold, so you could even have a little kiosk thing set up outside the tavern, double up. A crucial feature of your freehold progression will also rely on the nodes progression. So, that's another thing too. We almost forgot. Went over real quick. So your crafting and processing stations all have the ability to level up, and as they level up, they unlock new abilities, new bonuses, new crafting and processing options. But the other thing too is that they're going to have a cap on them for the node itself. So if you're in a node that is not doing so well, you won't be able to get too far. At least that's how it stands right now. I'm not sure it's exactly fair, because there should be like some legendary blacksmith out in like the boonies in like some little town, like, as the legends say. But I don't know. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how that pans out eventually. I'm assuming they're going to do the thing where when you build up your freehold and it gets destroyed, you can keep that blueprint. So I'm hoping that you could still keep that blueprint, and if it's... Oh no, because they said it'll keep the base of everything, but then when you rebuild it, you'll have to level it up one thing at a time. So, like one level at a time, like all over again. So if you had a lumber mill or a forge and you had them at level 5, let's say, when you come back and you have to rebuild everything, it'll be back at level 1. But you'll be able to rebuild, and slowly, painfully, but surely. They have said it wouldn't take as fast, or not, it wouldn't take as fast. It wouldn't take as slow. There'd be like a percentage boosted that would be able to rebuild quicker. But we'll see. We'll see. It's all theory crafting, and with the strange alpha we have going on right now, it is hard to say when we'll see that kind of stuff. So anyway, let's not talk about the Fortnite thing that's going on right now. The fuck? Anyway. So, the other thing to know is that as the freehold progresses with the node, you'll be able to get more land, specifically for crops, amongst other things. Crops themselves can receive an environmental bonus from fresh water supplies, i.e. rivers and lakes. Lumberjacks and lumberjanets, yes, I recognize all, may receive a bonus on their mill when located in a dense forest. A tavern may when close to other freeholds, and maybe an inn gets a bonus when keeping itself far away from others to actually provide a safe stay in a harsh and unforgiving land, just like I already said. Gotta love technical difficulties. Okay, so as I was saying... No. Back up. Okay, there we go. Okay. So, a very cool feature with the freeholds is that they're not racially locked in aesthetics, and you can actually see the skins already featured in this month on the Ashes of Creation website. You can check their link below. It's very cool, like Arabian Nights kind of like feeling to it. It's nice. It's really cool. Very, very, very cool, like old school Middle Eastern design. I like it. I really like it a lot. But it's a stable, right? So it converts the stable into looking like whatever stable you would have in the game. You can change the look of it to now it looks like it's a really cool stable. So that's pretty cool. They've said that they're going to have like in the cash shop, they're going to be mainly the cosmetics and stuff that'll be like just that will revolve around being able to make your stable, forge, all kinds of other things look super cool. I'm a huge fan of that, as long as it's no pay to win items or like pay to save time. God, I fucking hate that. So more than the pay to win, I'm not sure if that's technically considered pay to win by most people's standards, but to me, when they have an item that's, oh, pay $5 and now you can level up 30% faster, it's like, no, that's not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. So cosmetics, yes. Speeds and bonuses, no. Anyway, static housing is better known as in-city housing, available at stage 3 for nodes, commonly referred to as the village stage. It's important to note, as any house is available at the start of stage 3 will always be on. I needed to get a drink. Water. 40 water. No E40 fans. Yay area. No, it's okay. We'll talk about that later. So static housing, better known as in-city housing, available at stage 3, commonly referred to as the village stage. It's important to note that houses at stage 3 will be available at Main Street and will continue on Main Street as the node develops. When you get to stage 4, more houses will become available and the stage 3 houses will get bigger. When it gets to stage 5, the original stage 3 houses will get even bigger. Stage 4s will get bigger, and stage 5 will bring about even new homes. So you can kind of see the progression as it goes up and up and up and up and up. So punchline being is, I don't know what the benefit, to be 100% honest, is of having a larger house and having to pay more for it. If I can't do like crafting and stuff there, if I can't sell from it, if it's not a hub that I can use for anything other than just sleeping in, it's not gonna do it for me. It's not gonna do it for me. I need a house that's usable, not a house that looks good. I don't do for things that look good. They need to be usable. So anyway. Yeah, I go into the saying that if you wanted to make it into a tavern or a shop of some kind, you could. Imagine the profits then. Yeah, maybe. Houses, much like the entire city, take on the aesthetic appeal of the race of that most influenced in the leveling up of the node of its current stage. Ooh, a little confusing there. So, if the node developed with elves, then it will have an elven aesthetic. If the node progresses to the next stage and the next stage has the most influence from orcs, let's say, then it will be a orc aesthetic. I don't think that there will be any like bleed over effect where it's like, oh, the elven and the orc designs intertwining with one another. No, I seriously doubt that's gonna happen. Maybe Ashes of Creation 2. But that tech is just that would be way too complicated. That's the other thing I wanted to say though about the freehold is I'm more than positive that you could buy aesthetics for your freehold in cities that have that racial dominance, but I'm not 100% on that, so do not quote me. But it'd be nice to be able to have, like, you're an elf, right? So you can only build elven houses, but then you're in a node that the orcs are controlling and you really like the orc design of like just the forge. Well, then maybe you can go to the city, buy the design for the forge, come back to your freehold, put the design for the forge up, and now you have an orc forge and everything else is elven. So, you know, there might be some really cool things you can do with that. So back to the static houses though. It's hard to say at this point whether or not there would be left over influence. Yeah, I already said that, blah blah blah. And the next stage is main influence, but yeah, I already said that. Come on, dude. Fuck, Lido. Come on. Oh yes. Quick note though, there are 2 types of each race, meaning each race has 2 different types of aesthetics just within themselves. So we could spend a whole other video on that, and To be quite honest, I don't have the names directly in front of me, and I'm not willing to butcher them. So we're gonna have to bear with my ignorance on this one. But it's like, so you have 2 different types of humans, 2 different types of elves, 2 different types of dwarves, 2 different types of orcs, 2 different types of Tolnar. There's something else. There's something else I'm forgetting. It's not like lizard or bird people, but it's something else. We'll think of it. We won't. We won't. Okay. Apartments available at stage 4 nodes, also known as a city. While offering some of the same abilities of freehold and static housing, they also don't offer quite that much as you'd probably be hoping as far as crafting and processing goes, at least we would assume. Only problem is, from what we've been told so far, apartments will only exist if the node developers plan to have the apartments in the node from the stage before. So yes, to answer the question you have, that you now are going to be asking, if the city planner does not plan for apartments, you are not getting any apartments. So that kind of sucks, because if they don't want to expand out to let people have apartments in their node, like you can see above me, this right here, this may have no apartments in it at all, or it may have apartments. See, the thing is that it may be at an advantage to the city to not put in any apartments because they don't want to have a huge population inside the city. Maybe everybody's built around freeholds around the outside, and there's actual uses for like inside the city, like shrines, I don't know, fucking huge forge places, like a city market board. I don't know. Okay, I'm just trying to theory craft by myself. I'm trying, people. So that's probably as best as we're gonna do with that with the apartments, because you have to remember, like I'm saying, you will not have any, and you cannot decide to have any. Like if you're in stage 5 and you're like, man, it'd be great to have some apartments right now, you got to plan them in and have them hopefully by stage 6. If you even get to stage 6 before the next siege, or maybe you never even get there because another node is rising up near you, it takes the resources. There's a lot of things that come into play, so it's hard to say what will happen with that. And when nodes downsize, you could lose the apartments altogether or the static houses. So like if you're at a stage 4, like perfect example, if your node just went from a stage 3 to a stage 4 and you plan to have apartments in it, when it goes in and it gets to that stage 4, you will have apartments then, right? And you will have new houses, and your original stage 3 house will get even larger. The drawback is if you get attacked and that node goes down from stage 4 to stage 3, all the apartments are lost, all the houses that came with stage 4 are lost, and all the houses that went from stage 3 to stage 4 that got larger just got smaller again. So it hurts to lose things when you're trying to build in city at the beginning of the game. So kind of something important to remember about the importance of freeholds is that you can save the blueprints of them. And you can hire guards. So an interesting point Steven said, though, is that apartments will never be sold out but have a continuous price rise. It's hard to say whether or not a new apartment complex would help combat this, but you have to remember you can only set that up for the next node stage of development. You would assume that it would, but depending on how many people buy houses, it might be like, oh, it just went right back to the price it was at. Shit. So hard to say. Really hard to say, especially if you don't move fast on them, like the real housing market. Anyway, another point that hasn't been discussed much is that Intrepid seems as though one can only rent and not own an apartment. Kind of weird. I'm hoping this isn't the case, and because it would be hotly contested realty to have a larger apartment that offers more crafting, processing, and social activities compared to the smaller ones. Even though the smaller ones would be more affordable, the larger one would have way more stuff. It would make the benefit of paying more and having an apartment worth it, and having them spread out. Because otherwise, if you can't craft or process in them or store stuff, a good amount of stuff there, I really don't see the point in them. Static housing in apartments can be destroyed during a siege, and if the node is attacked to the point of downsizing, it may lose the ability for apartments to static house altogether. Okay, yeah, we already talked about that too. Okay. Freeholds can be destroyed after a successful siege. but can have hired guards for such occasions to help ward off enemies. Yep. A great move by developers, though, is to allow plots of freeholds, static housing apartments to be saved. Yeah, okay, we already went into that. God, see, this is what happens when I do it freeform, and then I have an actual paper written up that actually looks good, and then I just go from my mind. We're all over the place. Yeah, we carried all of that. Yep. And then we have a little thing. It also has been stated by Steven directly that when building from a pre-built blueprint of a previous design, it will cost less resources from the same build out as before, easing the burden of starting out from scratch. Easing the burden of property management has also been said to been introduced through a phone app for in-game notifications, paying taxes, kiosk control, mayoral and government duties, tavern games, and of course everyone's favorite, crop rotation. Yay. So, and then our closing paragraph. It's safe to say you always receive the largest benefit in game by having all three types of homes, but like we already went over, it's crucial to remember you have to transfer things from one home to another manually by foot or even by caravan. Maybe you can hire another player or a group of players to move supplies for you. But as it stands, we're not capable of shared ownership of buildings, meaning you would still have to at least load or transfer the items into the caravan yourself. Unfortunately, no evidence or statements have shown otherwise, which means you might have your stuff in I've been watching too much Overlord. You might have your stuff in Dagobah, right? There we go. Okay. So you might have your apartment in Dagobah and you need to transfer all your stuff. Well, like I'm saying, it is going to be hard to transfer all that stuff because I don't know another way you'd get it there other than you would have to go there, transfer the stuff from your house to a caravan, and then send the caravan on its way. So it's like if you forget something at a house somewhere, you don't want to have to go get it back. So that's going to be an interesting one. Definitely going to want to stay near your important home, to say the least. Definitely. Okay. Caravans are costly, though, for security and slow for large loads, so something to keep in mind if you're planning to be a crafter, gatherer, processor, or shopkeep. The proximity of your house will play a large role in shop stock as well as their supplier's material stock. It will always be cool to have a home on the other side of the map, but I easily see most players having a freehold in the same node they started leveling and an apartment in the largest of the nodes they can afford of that kingdom. This helps have a reliable place to store things in the city for supplying local shops or even your own kiosks and a reliable social hub for you and your friends. However, most of us solo players will be fine renting inn rooms when traveling abroad, and as such will be heavily reliant on other players to establish inns in every corner of Vera. Yes. So even though I'm a member of a guild, I probably and usually and almost always play solo for the main part just because I stay up usually through the AM, and I'm on the West Coast, so doesn't usually gel well with anyone else's time schedules. But punchline being is, you got to remember, if you're a solo player, you don't even really have to have any of this stuff because you could be like a traveling adventurer and just stay at other people's inns and taverns and kind of make your way through the world just as a traveler that really doesn't even have a citizenship of any kind to anywhere. So that is an option to be just a complete and total traveler. Let's see. It has been repeated time and time again. Intrepid wants Ashes of Creation to have a very competitive realty market for players on all levels for player housing. But remember, travelers, the Underrealm is always there for a shortcut for your adventures, or mayhap a place to call home, as it can even be inhabited, as it will have nodes itself. So that's a cool thing to remember. Everyone's thinking all this stuff where they're like, oh, my freehold, oh, my house, oh, my apartment, and it's all like on the surface. Everyone's forgetting we can build in the nodes, underground, in the Underrealm. So, you know where my house is gonna be. Anyway, guys, the last thing I want to do is kind of give a little state of the channel address. As you can see, I'm just using the same equipment that I had before for my streaming stuff that I was doing with Twitch, but just trying to make it a little better. The reason that we're doing this format change is because I really kind of doubled down on, and that's why it's taking so long to get this thing out. I've really been trying to concentrate on what I like most about other people's YouTube videos and other podcasts. And so that's what we'll slowly be pushing towards, is stuff that is more akin to the things that I really like. Is it going to be what you really like? I don't know. I hope so. But we'll be pushing for what I really want this channel to be. And I think that's it. So, other than that, check out more Stranded in Sanctus. Oh, we never did a name explanation, did we? Jesus. Okay, so for those of us that don't know what Sanctus is, Sanctus, when in the Ashes of Creation, the world started to go into what was known as the Fall, and this is when everything was going good for the people in Vera, and an abnormal amount of, oh god, what do you call it? Not toxins, but and I want to say decay, but like bad juju, like just terrible magic and energy was literally consuming the land. And so 8 races were saved through these huge portal things. The 9th race, the Tolnar, escaped to the underground, the Underrealm. Well, when everyone escaped through those gates, they had to run off to a world known as Sanctus. So in the world of Sanctus, you have no magical abilities, you are not special, and you never feel special. Well, guess where we are, people? In the real world, that is Sanctus. You shouldn't feel special, and you don't have any damn magic abilities. So, unfortunately, that is where we are stranded until we can get back to Vera when the game launches. So, with that being said, pretty much covers everything. I'm gonna go get some grub. Pretty freaking hungry. Till next time, guys, everyone have a good one. Peace out, everyone. Thanks for watching the first episode, Ashes of Creation, Housing, Stranded in Sanctus, hosted by Lydell Storm. And don't forget, no one forget, please, go look around. I don't know how to do it yet. Maybe I'll post it up here, just look down there. Go listen to my music, please, right? Listen to my music. Have a good one, guys. Peace.